My name is Austin. My world is movies and TV shows. Once I was just a boy, a film lover searching for the perfect action movie. Then the summer 2015, there was an action movie made by the director of Happy Feet and Babe, and it blew people's minds. I had not seen any of the Mad Max films up until that point. How could a fourth movie in a franchise that's been dead for 30 years just come back and blow people's minds? It was hard to know who was more crazy, me or everyone else.
Hello, and welcome to Austin Approved. After the massive success of this year's Mad Max Fury Road, I've decided to watch the original 3 movies and see how they rank among this year's action powerhouse known as Fury Road. So let's get started with Mad Max from 1979. 1979's Mad Max. Mel Gibson stars as Max, a police officer who's trying to regain control in a world that's been slowly going crazy after losing its oil. George Miller, the director of this movie, starts getting a footing on his franchise, the Mad Max series, with this film. This movie is definitely the least Mad Max of all the movies so far, and that's not a bad thing. The movie is just setting up the future. It's setting up the world of Mad Max. Mad Max isn't crazy yet. The world hasn't gone to hell yet. They're just losing their oil. They're just starting to go crazy to look for oil. But for most people, everyone's okay. Mel Gibson plays Max, a police officer who with his buddy Goose. Nope, not that one. Nope. Yeah, that one. They try to regain control in a world where the world is starting to get crazy. They're lusting for oil because it's been depleted. All the oil's gone. When the biker gang gets pissed off at his wife and son, and they kill him, making Max furious, and he goes on a rampage to take him out. So there's a lot of good stuff working for this film. The director, as usual, he does a good job directing action, stunts, like cars flipping over, explosions, battle sequences. He's the master. He's good at it. Mel Gibson's good as Max. At the moment, he's just a police officer. He's pretty much just a pretty boy. He's a guy with a pretty face in this movie. And he doesn't get over that till like his wife gets killed. Then he starts going to the crazy part. The Mad Max we know and love. Some things that didn't work for this film is that towards the end, this movie kind of felt rushed with some things. Like some of the car chases and stuff kind of felt like a little rush, like something would barely touch a car and it would flip over and stuff. I later learned that this movie was made with only $350,000, which is really, really low for an action movie. George Miller, the director, actually, he got a lot of the money for this movie by being an emergency room doctor. He would go to hospitals and he would be the emergency room doctor, and that's how he made some extra cash. They weren't able to film all the action sequences that they wanted because they had a very small budget. But they were able to make it work. It's a good story. I don't like what they did with the villain towards the end. He was killed off really, really quick. But, stuff happens. In the future, George Miller, with the success of this movie, was able to get enough money to fund movies that he wanted in the upcoming future. So yeah, watching Mad Max, the 1979 version, I had a lot of fun with it. It's a good movie. Like I said, some things towards the end felt a little rushed, but they were on a limited budget. With what they had, they actually did a really good job with it. I just felt like this movie could have been placed with some, like, the action powerhouses of the 80s, like the Predator series, the Terminator series, stuff like that, Die Hard. It could have been put in that category if there was a larger budget and George Miller was able to do what he wanted. But overall, I did enjoy this movie. So my Austin approval meter, which ranges from Austin throws up in his mouth to Austin worships movie, I give this a 4 with a Austin approved. Okay, so next is the 1981 film Mad Max Road Warrior. In this, Mad Max isn't just a pretty face. He's not just some cop. In this, he is Mad Max. And he isn't Mad Max from Beyond the Thunderdome, where he has a mullet for all the film. He is Mad Max. The definitive look for Mad Max is based on this movie. He's got the leather coat, the pants, he's got his car, he's got the dog, he's got the sawed-off shotguns. This is Mad Max. In this, Mad Max is traveling the outback of Australia. He's trying to avoid crazy people who just stop people. They flip over their cars, kill them just for their gasoline. In the Mad Max franchise, gasoline is called gasoline. But yeah, he's avoiding all these crazy people who are trying to take his gasoline, and he's just trying to avoid people. And then one day, he comes across this pilot guy who, he's kind of a funny character. He's got this like snake. He's always talking and yakking. He's like the comical character of this movie. But anyway, the pilot leads him to this like little town that's been set up. A bunch of refugees have been hiding out in this town which pumps oil, and they're just trying to stay out of the way. They're just trying to live and survive. The people run into a problem when they are encountered by Gay Bane. I mean, humongous. Basically, his group of crazy people are like, get out of your fort, we want your oil, we won't kill you if you just leave now. We're gonna give you a day to decide, we're out of here, bitches. The townsfolk are conflicted. They don't want to leave the area. They've been building this fort, they've been surviving, they were doing pretty well for themselves. But on the other hand, they're not going to be able to take down this whole group of like warriors. But yeah, Mad Max from there, he decides to help the people. There's some cool car chases. And this movie's starting point where we actually get to see the cool cars, the modified vehicles that like Fury Road did really, really well. It started in this movie. But yeah, this is a good movie. It has some good car chase scenes, and it has a pretty good story. There's a lot of heart. There's actually a decent amount of comedy in it. But yeah, it's a good movie. The only thing I can complain about it is that it's pretty much Mad Max Fury Road light. Pretty much everything that happened in this movie was redone, remodeled in Mad Max Fury Road. I'm not talking about story or whatnot. I'm talking about the looks of things, the looks of the crazy people, the vehicles, the car chase scenes. All that was done in Mad Max, but it was done much better. That's not a fault of George Miller, the director. That movie came out in 1981. That was a long time ago. That was like 30 years ago or whatever, 25 years ago. And that movie had a $4 million budget, a lot more than the first Mad Max, but Mad Max Fury Road has a $120 million budget. So it's just conflict of money, of the times, they're able to do more today. Yeah. But overall, good movie. With Mad Max, The Road Warrior, I'm going to give it a 4.5. 1985's Mad Max Beyond the Thunderdome. This movie starts off really, really well. In the beginning it's a little weird because like Mad Max has like kind of a mullet, he's long hair. I really liked his look in Mad Max, The Road Warrior, and that's so I was like, but what are you gonna do? But the story was good. He goes into town, he's looking for somebody. This lady comes up to him and is like, okay, there's this evil dude in town, can you like fight his like main bodyguard dude? So go into the Thunderdome and fight him. Mad Max does that, he beats the guy, but he decides not to kill him. So, the townsfolk throw him out into the desert. So Mad Max, he's dropped in the desert, left to die, and he's found by a group of kids. They pretty much look like Peter Pan's Lost Boys mixed with the kids from Lord of the Flies. They're like, be our leader, let's go into town, we want to be free, we want to find the promised land, blah 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 blah. This is where the movie goes off on a different, it's just a different tone, it doesn't fit very well with the movie. At that point, I was starting to get bored. I didn't like these kids. It was just weird seeing all these like young boys half naked. I was just like, oh, I don't want to see this. I don't care for this. Can Mad Max start going back to like doing cool stuff? Can we go back to that, please? The first act of this movie, I really liked. It was a different feel, but I liked it. The second part of this movie, the second act, I definitely did not like at all. I guess that's where people go, yeah, this is the worst of the Mad Max franchise. But the third act is good. He's still stuck with these annoying kids, but there's actually some really good chase scenes at the end of the movie when they're trying to escape these assholes who are trying to kill him for some reason. But yeah, this movie had a $12 million budget, and I would definitely say Mad Max with a $350,000 budget, less than $500,000, it did way better than Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. Thunderdome is not a terrible movie. It's definitely not. It's passable. It's just that Mad Max does a lot better with what it had in this movie. And yeah, Road Warrior had only a $4 million budget compared to 12. This movie spent a lot of its money apparently on sets and stuff, and the sets look cool and stuff, but at the end of the day, the sets don't matter. It's about the story. And I guess for a Mad Max movie, you want some chase scenes, and they had some pretty good chase scenes. But this movie put a lot of money into the like sets and stuff. it kind of just felt like a movie that was like meant to be like a Lord of the Flies movie, and they just like threw Mad Max into it. So yeah, on my Austen approval meter, I'm gonna give it a 3, because while I was bored at the beginning part of the movie, overall I was entertained. And yeah, 30 years later, we got Mad Max Fury Road. Yeah, in this movie, it upped the action, because this whole movie is like one big chase scene. Alright, the two main characters, Furiosa, she was a badass, really played well by Charlize Theron, an Oscar-winning actress. Then Tom Hardy, he dove into the role that Mel Gibson perfected. He did a really good job. I think both of them, they both excelled in their roles. But yeah, action's great. I like this story. It's a simple plot, but it really works well. And the actors are good. Mad Max Fury Road, it just upped everything. I don't need to talk too much about it, because yeah, I love this movie. On my Austen approval meter, I'm going to give it a 6. My first 6 ever for Austen Worsup's movie. Hey, did you like this review? If you did, subscribe to my channel. And also, you can check me out on Facebook and Twitter at Austen Approved, so you can be approved for more reviews.